Hi everyone, welcome so much to today's Monday live stream. It's so much fun to see so many of you on early in the chat. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We have a lot of fun here. We're all about growing your own food in a quick, simple, inexpensive way, and we always have so much fun along the way. So try and join us about 15 minutes early. We do live stream every Monday at noon Pacific time. And if you come early and join us, you'll find that there's a great group of gardeners just chatting it up about what's going on in their gardens, what's sprouting since last week. There's all kinds of questions and suggestions flying back and forth, and it's always so much fun. So that's really one of my favorite parts is the pre-party, the pre-live stream at about 11:45 on Mondays Pacific time. So welcome guys, there's people here from all over the US. I don't know if there's anyone here from, oh, there is Wendy from England. If there's anyone here from outside the US, but usually we have a pretty international audience. And it's always a lot of fun to have the new gardeners, the more seasoned gardeners learning and having a lot of fun together. So we have Lucas from Canada, from Mexico. We have Mariso, Adrian from Dallas, from Alaska. Oh my goodness. I'm not even sure how to say your name there. Grosit Gatoak. Well, welcome. Nisha from Northern California, Puerto Rico. Alina, she's here almost every week. The Quick Gardener from Trinidad and Tobago. Oh my gosh, how fun. Love to Heal from Los Angeles, the Quick Gardener from the Caribbean. The Virgin Islands is represented. I think that was Gregory. Wonderful. Arkansas. Ms. Wright 265. So guys, this is so much fun, and I know everyone is getting excited about spring, especially if you're here in the Northern Hemisphere. I live in Southern California, and although we don't have much of a winter, we've had a ton of rain. We're really looking forward to some sunshine, and I know many of you have had an absolutely crazy week. If you live in the Midwestern US or in the Northern US, it's been the polar vortex, below zero temperatures, freezing, snow, ice. I absolutely can't imagine it. So I hope you guys are all warming up now and staying safe and warm and ready to think about spring gardening, because today we are going to talk about 4 things that you can do to start preparing for spring gardening. Super exciting. And I'm hoping that if all of us just think spring together and work on this together, that spring will come just a little bit sooner. I know I'm ready for it, and I know you guys are too. So welcome, and let's jump right in. We're all about quick, simple, inexpensive, and fun. And Christy from Everything Sunflowers is our wonderful moderator. She shows up here every week. So show her some love, and she's on here today helping me moderate. So thanks you so much, Christy. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is share a tip, something you can do to prepare for your spring garden, and then we'll head into the chat. So get your questions ready. And I see Zenith is here from hot South Africa. -50 from my backyard. My backyard is up in Canada. Oh my gosh, that's absolutely crazy. I don't even know how I would deal with that kind of weather. So stay safe and warm. Okay, first thing that we all love to do to prep for our spring garden is to plan. I know in December and January, people really start thinking about their spring gardens. A lot of you are really good at laying out a plan on paper. I'm not so great at that. I tend to just go out and fly by the seat of my pants out in the garden and figure out whatever I like to plan. But it is a good idea to plan for your garden. There are a lot of free garden planner tools online. I haven't used any of them, so if any of you have a really good recommendation that you could tell us about, a website to link to that has a free garden planner, I would love to hear about it. I know a lot of people could really benefit from it. But start thinking about what you want to grow. It's never too early for that. Now, I always like to say, start simple and expand later, especially if you're brand new. And Christy is just posting a link, Everything Sunflowers, just posted a link to Clyde's Garden Planner at rareseeds.com. That's Baker Creek Seeds. So go over and check that out. Thank you so much, Christy, for that link. But you definitely want to start thinking about what you're gonna grow. So start simple. If you're a brand new gardener, think about what kinds of vegetables your family likes to eat, and then pick a few and start small with those. So you might want to start with some easier vegetables in the spring, such as peas, lettuce, and radishes are super easy vegetables to grow. Those are one of the very first things you can grow as well. So if you're brand new, you might want to start with those. If you've been around for a while and are ready to get going, maybe you're ready to do one of those really beautiful garden designs, which more power to you. That's absolutely wonderful. But start thinking about what you want to grow and plan and prepare, excuse me, plan and prepare for that. So you want to think about what you're going to grow. Well, number one, what you're going to grow, what you're going to grow in. Are you going to grow in containers or in garden beds, or do you have a space carved out for an in-ground garden? You want to be thinking about that right now. You also want to be growing pollinators as well as vegetables. So along with your garden plan for vegetables, which you can feed your family, don't forget about the bees and all the other pollinators, and definitely be planting in some flowers to attract the bees and pollinators to your garden, because that's just going to make your vegetables grow that much better, and you're going to have all that much more to eat. So the first step is to plan for your garden. Now, one thing I like to tell people is if you cannot plant outside yet, why not get some going indoors? You can get a little container of lettuce going inside, and it really does help scratch that gardening itch. Even if you live in a southern climate and you can plant things outside, like I can right now, or you might be able to if you're in Texas or Florida, just get something going on your windowsill. It just feels so good to have a little bit of the garden inside. And those of you that grow something indoors, you can tell me if that's how you feel. But it's just really fun. I keep this on my kitchen windowsill, and I pull some leaves off it for a salad, and it's just really fun to have something like this growing. I've got one growing right behind me here as well. So I usually keep a couple of these inside the house. And also the microgreens are always a fun thing to grow on your windowsill. So not only plan for your spring garden, but have some things going inside so that you always have some fresh food going. And these are microgreens. You can pick up the microgreen seed collection. It's a really, really easy way to start. And Rhonda, I see your question here. I don't have enough light. What can I do? These are grown on my windowsill. Actually, both of these are grown on my windowsill without light. Now these I actually started from seed peat pellets, and I started them under grow lights. But the microgreens, you don't need a grow light to grow these. These grow in indirect sunlight on my kitchen windowsill. I don't have any direct light on that window. And it grows like this in about a week or so. You can be harvesting. So microgreens and sprouts are a super easy thing to grow inside. It doesn't really matter. You can see these are kind of leggy. These are radish microgreens, but it doesn't matter because microgreens you harvest at about this stage. These are ready to harvest when they're just a couple inches tall. And believe me, these are so, so tasty. You just snip them off and throw them in your omelets, throw them on a salad, throw them in smoothies, and they sprout in just a couple of days. And this is a container I picked up at Target, I think for $1. You can also put them in like these little nursery pots that you get at the garden center, put them in a teacup, and you can check out my microgreens video for how to grow them. But believe me, it's one of the easiest ways you can grow inside. So drainage in the pots, good question. I did poke drainage holes in these, which is super easy. It's not totally necessary, but it is helpful. I've grown in a teacup before, but it does make it a little bit more challenging to water it, but it's definitely easy to do. But these you can pick up at Target, or you can pick up some things at the dollar store. The other thing that works really good for microgreens are the small little aluminum foil bread pans that you can pick up at Target or Walmart, and those are super easy to poke holes in the bottom, and you're gonna be ready to get started with something indoors for pennies or cheaper. So first step is to plan for your spring garden. We all love to dream and plan, figure out what you wanna grow, make a list, and then get the supplies on hand, which we'll talk about in just a second. Okay, let's head into the chat for some questions. There are tons of questions flying by, and here's Judy Mather asking, can I put pebbles in with no holes? You can, absolutely. That will help a little bit with drainage. I've never done that myself, but I know it will keep the soil, up off the bottom of the container. But for microgreens, it's kind of your choice. You can go with drainage or no drainage. The reason why I do like having drainage, if possible, is because I like to water them from the bottom. So I just set them in a little tray, pour water in the bottom of the tray, and then the container soaks up the water, makes it nice and moist, and then you don't have to water them as often. And it's kind of easier to water these from the bottom because the microgreens, get kind of tall. So it just, keeps it a little bit simpler. Okay, you're welcome, Judy. Thanks for the question. Okay, Jack, I put all the seeds. I won't be planting away somewhere so I don't go overboard. That's a really good suggestion, Jack, because don't you guys think it's so easy to kind of bite off more than you can chew with gardening? I'm sure a lot of you who've been gardening for a couple of years, you have a ton of seeds. If you're like me, you just keep on collecting seeds because you're a seed addict and it's easy to get overwhelmed. So Jack, great suggestion. Start with 5 or 10 different varieties if you're up for that, and then put the other ones away, maybe to grow in the next round of planting. So hopefully that'll help you kind of keep it under control. Okay, Lisa, hi, how are you, Lisa? Here's a question. Do you fertilize your lettuce while it's growing? Mine didn't do well. Yes, I do. I do fertilize all of my indoor plants about once a week. And I've just found that the containers really do respond well to fertilizing a lot more often than like your outside garden does. And it's super, super easy. You want to use one of your favorite liquid organic fertilizers. I feel like that's the easiest way to go for indoor gardening. And a couple fertilizers I've used in my garden and really found them to be super, super effective. The first one you guys are very familiar with, I've used for a long time, and that's the Vermistera Worm Tea. And all you have to do is put about 3 ounces or so in a gallon pitcher or gallon jug, and put some in what I do is I set this in a sheet pan or an aluminum foil tray, and then I just pour my water that's diluted with my fertilizer that's diluted with the water in the tray a couple inches, and put all my plants in there, and then it just soaks them all up. So I use the Vermistera Worm Tea. And for the past several months, I've also been using the Good Dirt plant food, and it is amazing. The combination of those two, I see almost immediate growth, immediate results. It helps the roots develop on the seedlings, helps the lettuce grow, helps the microgreens grow nice and green. Absolutely a power combination. And you can get the Good Dirt plant food at good-dirt.com, and the Vermistera worm castings are at vermistera.com. Christy's going to post the discount codes in the chat, and I'll also post them in the video description. But you can get 10% off with using my codes. So I would highly recommend both of those fertilizers. I've used them, tested them, and absolutely love them. And if you have other favorite fertilizers that you like to use, by all means, use those. Those are just the ones that I've used and found really work for me. And I really do like to pass on garden products that I've used and have tested, have had good results with, so that you guys don't waste your money on fertilizers that don't work. But by all means, if you found ones that work for you, then use those as well. Okay. Good morning from rainy SoCal. Yes, we have had a ton of rain here. It is not raining at the moment, but about a half an hour ago, it was raining and pouring like crazy. So that's why I'm inside, and we see my part of my indoor garden here right behind me. So hopefully we'll be drying out soon and getting some sunshine. Okay, Thomas C. What is a good site to go to see what vegetables work well with each other? I don't really have a site I can recommend for that I've used. So if anyone else has one out there, I know Farmer's Almanac always has great information on it. So you can check farmersalmanac.com. They probably have information about companion planting. And that would be a really good one to check. Okay, and Christy just posted, yes, thank you, Christy. Good Dirt also is now sold in many Target stores, which I'm so excited about because it makes a great product that works accessible to so many more people. So check your local Target store, or you can check target.com and enter your zip code to see if a store in your area carries it. And definitely check them because they have great soil, great fertilizers, and really the best potting soil I've ever used. So guys, we'll head back to the chat in just a moment. I'm sorry, I'm trying to speed through as many questions as I can. I'm sorry if I can't get to yours, but we only have so much time today, and we do have a few more tips to cover. So, second thing to do to prep for spring planting now, while it's still cold, if you can't get outside, is first plan. Number 2 is start collecting your supplies. It's never too early to start doing that. And some critical supplies you're gonna want to get together, of course, are your seeds for whatever you want to grow. and your grow lights and your soil and seed starting mix or whatever you're gonna do to start your seeds in. So make sure that you have everything you need to start your seeds indoors so that 4 to 6 weeks before your last frost date, you're gonna be able to get your indoor seeds started. And you want to start seeds indoors because you're going to save so much money and it's going to make gardening so much more affordable and so much more fun because you have a ton more varieties you can grow from seed than what you can purchase the little transplants at the garden center. So number one is start collecting your seeds. Now check your seed supply from last year because a lot of the seeds from last year are still going to be perfectly fine to grow this year. If you are in the market for seeds, in case you don't know, I do have an online seed shop. I would love for you to check out my seed collections. I think I have 18 seed collections now, and I arrange them all by type of vegetable or by time of year to plant them, because a lot of us are really busy and we don't have time to go and hunt down different seeds to grow, or you just are brand new and you're not sure where to start. So I group my seeds by collections to make it really easy for you, and if you're a busy person, it won't take you any time at all. One collection I recommend starting with, if you're gonna start with one on my website, I recommend starting with the Spring Garden Collection. Now this does have, I think there's 12 varieties in here. All of the vegetables you would need to start a basic garden. Some ones you can start early, like your peas and your lettuce, which you can get going even before your last frost date, get them planted outside. It has some warm weather vegetables like tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers. It has some herbs in it, and it's a really good place to start if you're a brand new gardener. So you can pick up these on my website, CallieKimGardenandHome.com, and Christy will post a link in the chat. But definitely be collecting your seeds once you figured out what you want to grow. Now, the second thing you want to be collecting is some supplies to start your seeds indoors. And guys, please, again, my garden motto, keep it simple, expand later, all right? You don't have to go out and spend a ton of money, but you do want to get a really good, nice, light, fluffy seed starting mix. And Good Dirt does have an indoor potting mix as well as an outdoor potting mix. And really, I've used both for seed starting, and they both work really well. The indoor potting mix is a little bit lighter of a mix. This here is the outdoor potting mix, which is just fine for seed starting as well. So you don't want to use your garden soil. It just is too compacted and it's not light enough for starting seeds. And then you're also going to bring in some pests and maybe mold and things like that into your house, which you really don't want to do. So pick yourself up some good seed starting mix, and it's going to be a lot easier for you to start your seeds. Now, what do you start your seeds in? Well, if you want more detailed information, go and watch my spring garden series from last year. We will be starting a new spring garden series soon. But again, keep it simple. One thing I like to do that makes it really simple is start seeds in these little peat pellets here. So here's a small size for smaller size vegetables like lettuce. And then the larger size, these are still compressed, they're not expanded. You put these in water to expand them. The larger ones are great for larger vegetables like tomatoes and peppers. And let me see if I have any. Oh, I don't have any that are expanded. I thought I had some right next to me. But these, you put these in water, they expand to about 3 inches, and then you start your little seeds in there. And it makes it really easy for you to start your seeds indoors. Or if you don't want to do the peat pellets, all you have to do is start collecting little containers. These are just all free little containers from the garden center. And you put your soil in it. I just added some soil here, and if you guys can see that. And then you drop your seeds in. So super, super simple. You want to collect your seeds, collect your seed starting supplies. And the next thing you want to do is make sure that you have some light to grow them. Now, I like to grow under grow lights. It's super, super easy to get grow lights going. So now's the time, well, if you live in a cold area, to start researching grow lights, and don't be intimidated. It's not as scary as you think. You can get one going for $10 or $15. There's actually one right here behind me. A little clamp light here with a special bulb that's specially designed for growing plants. And I do have a really good video on how to get some grow lights set up in your house very inexpensively. And you can check that out. There'll be a link down in the video description, or Christy will pop a link in the chat here. So first thing to do is to start planning your garden. Second thing to do is to start collecting supplies. your seeds, your seed starting supplies, and your grow lights. That way, as soon as the time is right, you're gonna have what you need and you can get your seeds started and be ready to plant outside when the weather warms up. Now I'm seeing a lot of questions fly by here about seed starting and when is a good time to plant. Definitely go back and watch the Spring Garden series. The link will be in the video description. Christy will post it in the chat, but that gives you all the details you need to know. But here's the lowdown, the really quick overview is start about 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost date, because that way it'll give the seedlings time to grow indoors for about 6 to 8 weeks, get nice and healthy and strong like these ones right behind me here. Here I have a little tiny Tim tomato, which is a little dwarf tomato, and this is going to be ready to plant outside. It could probably, it's about the right size to plant outside right about now, but we're going to harden this off and plant this outside probably in another 3 weeks or so. So that way you have transplants to put into your garden. By growing them indoors, you have transplants to put into your garden, and you're not just starting with seeds on your last frost date. So it saves you some time and gets you harvesting veggies that much sooner, because that's what we're all doing this for, right? Is to grow our own food. And it's a lot of fun. We're doing this together, and if you follow along on my videos, we post all kinds of fun videos along the way, and we have these live streams to help support you in the process. So 4 to 6 weeks before your last frost date. Hopefully that helped. Okay, how many Blue Lake bush beans? Hi, Patricia. I think I've seen your question fly by a couple times. How many Blue Lake bush beans per 5-gallon Smart Pot? Okay, I do have one of my 5-gallon Smart Pots right down here behind me here. You guys can see that. I sell these on my website. I love these. The Callie Kim logo and the Smart Pots logo. And these are the blue or the Royal Burgundy bush beans that are in my bean seed collection. And I'm so excited, guys. Look at this. I just saw this morning. My very first bean of the season. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that purple bean. I absolutely love it. And this has been growing completely inside. I actually have been trying to harden off this plant for a couple of weeks, but the weather has not really been cooperating, so I've had to keep bringing it inside. But I have 3 plants in here. So Patricia, I'd say around 3 plants would be a good amount. As it grows, it's going to completely fill this pot and hopefully will help produce a lot of beans. But you can see the 5-gallon is pretty much a good size for 3 plants. So I absolutely love the little 5-gallon Smart Pots. They're good for all kinds of things. For the tiny Tim tomato, you can make compost in them. They're an absolutely wonderful really, really handy size and a great way to start. Okay, okay, so let's see here. A couple other questions. Yes, first bean, first harvest hashtag. Yeah, wonderful. Thank you guys so much for your excitement for me. I know we all love seeing that first flower and that first harvest. It's always a lot of fun. Okay, from Nisha. I have strawberry bare roots. When is the best time to plant them in a container? And how many should I plant in the 3-gallon Smart Pot? Okay, Nisha, I have not had a ton of luck with bare root strawberries. So if any of you have, please post a comment in the chat here. I prefer to start from the plants. That's just me. It doesn't mean that's how you have to start, but that's just my preference. It helps get them going a lot quicker, and I see growth a lot quicker, and I'm just kind of an impatient person, so I like to see that growth. I'd say if you're gonna do strawberries in a 3-gallon container, which is a little bit smaller than this one, you might wanna try 3 or so strawberry plants, and then over the next few years, you're probably gonna have to remove, because they're gonna multiply. They're going to grow runners and probably have, grow bigger. You might have to transplant a couple. But I'd start with 3 and then see how it goes. Okay, Angela, thank you so much about the information about the clamp light, available for about $8 at Home Depot. And I will post links in the video description on the lights that I'm using. It's an LED screw-in light bulb, and I think there are 4 for... Ooh, I'm not sure. I don't want to say for sure, but you get 4 in a package. They're on Amazon. And always check the video descriptions, because I always post the supplies I use in them. And when you purchase through my Amazon links, it helps our channel out, and we really appreciate that. So thank you so much. Okay, let's see if any more questions here. What are your thoughts for a rain gutter garden for strawberries? I say go for it. I'm always one for experimenting in the garden. I myself have never grown it, but I've seen a lot of people who have done that, use the rain gutters for strawberries. You wanna make sure you have drainage. I love to grow the strawberries in the crate towers. That's worked well for me. But I would love to hear you try it and then come back and share how it works for you. Okay, Thomas? All right, Pretty Alice, hello. How do you deal with vine borers? I get asked that question so many times, and we do not have vine borers in California. We're very fortunate. I believe they are in more areas with higher humidity than we have. And oh, you know what, guys? Give your suggestions in the chat because I am actually not sure how to deal with them. I know Gary on the Rusted Garden deals with them a lot, so he probably has a video on that. Okay, Stacy, here we grow again. I need those smart pots, Kim. I'm trying to talk my husband into it, but he just doesn't get into growing. Well, keep on going for that, Stacy, because you never know. Once you grow some things, even if it's not in a smart pots, and start putting some tasty salads on the table, he just might get excited about it. And even if he doesn't grow it himself, hopefully he will appreciate the fact that you are trying to grow your own food and being healthier. Okay, that's great. Let me think, I was gonna say something else. Oh yeah, about the smart pots. I am going to be soon, hopefully within the next maybe month or so, putting together a kid seed collection, and we're gonna be growing in a really fun purple, bright purple smart pots, which the kids are gonna absolutely love. And it's also gonna be embroidered with my logo. So make sure you be watching out for that. Okay, let's get into our third tip, guys. There's so many fun questions in the chat. We have a few more tips we wanna get through about what you can do now to prep for your spring garden. Okay, number one, plan your garden. Number two, check your supplies. Make sure you have everything ready so you're ready to go. Number three is clean out your garden beds. Okay, I know a lot of you are still under snow, but if you do have a really nice day out or a day when the sun comes out and the snow melts, or if you live in California and you have a break in the rain, by all means, get outside and clean out the garden beds. Because if you guys are like me, I know I have a couple garden beds that cold climate, you probably have some areas that have dead plants. Get out there and clean out those garden beds, pull out the dead plants, just get things cleaned out. So that way, as soon as the weather is warmed up, you're gonna be good to go. So definitely get out there, clean out your garden beds, and make sure that you start early, because some of your garden beds might have some little plants that are gonna pop up as soon as the weather gets warm. Maybe you have some bulbs planted, some tulips or some fun daffodils, or just some things that are reseeding after last year. So getting in there and cleaning out some of that old debris is gonna make room for the new. And believe me, you are gonna love seeing those little seedlings sprout. If you guys saw our video on yesterday, I guess it was, we posted it. It's just so much fun. We went out there and it started to rain, but it was so much fun seeing everything that is coming up and trying to figure out what it all is. Some are flower seeds, some are arugula, maybe resprouting, but you're gonna wanna see those little seedlings as they come up. So get out there, it's gonna feel good to get out in the air, even if it's cold, and start cleaning out your garden beds. Of course, be safe. If it's -50, you might wanna really dress warmly or wait until a little bit warmer of a day. And UK, here we grow, how fun. The spring bulbs are already popping up here in the UK, even though we had snow on the ground until yesterday. Doesn't that just give you a lift to see those little bulbs popping through the soil? I know it does me for sure. So UK, I can definitely relate to that. Okay, guys. So let's see if there's any more questions here in the chat. Luna Glows. Hello, Luna. Nice to have you here. When is the best time to start cucumbers? Okay, cucumbers are a warm weather vegetable. So you can start some inside 4 to 6 weeks before your last frost date. That way they're ready to go as soon as the weather warms up. You can also direct seed the cucumber seeds right in your garden beds, but you don't want to do it until after your frost date because they are cold sensitive. So if you get them in the ground, and they also need warm soil. So if you get them in the ground too soon, the seeds are not going to sprout, or if they sprout and you get a frost, then they're going to get killed. So do yourself a favor, start some inside. They grow very fast. That way, as soon as your frost date is passed, you can get them in the ground. Okay, more purple smart pots. Yeah, you're gonna love these, Jesse. They're gonna be a smaller size, little mini raised bed. Smart Pots does also have a large, they call it the big bag raised bed, I think the large size, which I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, 13 square feet of growing space. It has a good amount of growing space. So you can check those out at smartpots.com, and then you can get that 10% discount when you use my code Callie Kim. Okay, let's see some more questions here. You're welcome, Luna. Hopefully that helps. Sharon, good bout. Unfortunately, we have to wait until mid-March before we see new growth outdoors. Can't wait. Sharon, it's going to be so much fun to see that new growth. Just hang in there, okay? I know it's been a really cold winter for a lot of people. Hang in there. Keep tuning into our channel because we're going to be growing all through the winter months, and hopefully you can get something growing indoors to give you that that green itch for that green. Okay, Marky, thank you so much. Love the Callie Kim videos. That's awesome. Oh, and Christy, she grows purple things. That's wonderful. Okay, Shonda, I need to find the over the balcony planters. Oh, I love those things. Those are called the wall saddle planters. And let me show you guys. I actually have them right outside on my balcony or on my deck. I want to show you guys because they are just the handiest little things. It stopped raining. You can see them right there. They're absolutely beautiful. And you can really grow a lot there. In those, I think I've got some lettuce, some flowers, I think I even planted a bean out there and some greens and things like that. But they are super, super handy. Those are smart pots. So you can get those at smartpots.com, and it's a really great way to grow a lot of food in a little bit of space and really make use of your vertical garden space. Because that's really key to growing a lot of food in a little space is make use of your vertical space. Plant on trellises, plant in those wall saddles. You can get those at smartpots.com. Again, use my code Callie Kim for a 10% discount. And let me know what you plant in it and how you like it, okay? Thanks, Shonda. Okay, I started the eggplants indoors and the free very slowly. I have 3-inch plants and it's been around 6 weeks. I'm sure you meant to say they grow very slowly. Okay, Alexia, let me give you a little tip there about eggplant. I know it can be frustrating when you're not seeing much growth. They do take a little bit longer to germinate, but eggplant and peppers, you want to grow them pretty much the same way. And that is, they're going to grow so much better if you grow them with bottom heat. Now, there's a couple different ways you can do that. When I first started out, I actually put mine on top of the oven and turned the stove on to warm and left that on. Now, I don't necessarily recommend that. You don't want to cause a fire or anything like that. But a super easy way to do it is just to pick yourself up a heat mat. And I actually have one right here. Let me grab it real quick. I actually have my grow light box right here. These are really inexpensive. I think they're around $12 on Amazon. And it's really gonna help your warm weather vegetables. You put your seedling tray on this and it just raises the temperature a few degrees on the bottom. And peppers and eggplant really need that bottom heat, especially when they're germinating and growing as seedlings. And you're gonna see that they're gonna grow a lot faster on that. So I would give that a try, and also make sure that your house isn't too cold. It is kind of nice to grow the warm weather vegetables in an enclosed space like this grow light box here, and I have a video on that. You can check out my grow light video, but that will really help your warm weather vegetables, especially your eggplant and your peppers, grow a lot faster. And good suggestion, Alice, you might have to start some new seedlings just to make sure that the ones that you're growing aren't already stunted. So get those backup seedlings going, and that way you won't have any problems getting some eggplant when the weather gets warm enough. So great questions, guys. Let me just talk quickly here about our last thing to do to help prep your garden for spring. Get outside there after you clean out your garden beds and give that soil a little bit of TLC, okay, guys? So now is a great time in the winter time when you're not necessarily planting your garden beds to add some good amendments to your soil. You can get out there and add some compost into your soil. If you're not composting yourself in your own backyard, it's super easy to do so. You can make compost in a small little 5-gallon container, just like this one. and we'll post a link on how to do that in the video description. If you don't have your own, you can go to the garden center. A lot of garden centers carry bagged compost, and you can just mix it into your soil. One thing that's a really easy way to give your soil some TLC is just to mulch it. If you've got shredded leaves, that's my favorite thing to use. Mulch it with shredded leaves. You could also use straw. And what that does is over the winter time where you're getting the snow and the rain, it's going to sit on top of your soil and protect your soil, but also help break down slowly into your soil over time. Add some organic matter to your soil, and it brings in the worms like crazy. So I do have a video on how to do that, and I'll also post that in the video description. But make sure you give that soil some TLC. The other thing you can do is start mixing in some soil amendments like worm castings, and some soil conditioner, which Good Dirt has some great soil conditioner you can add to your soil. And the Vermistera worm castings are amazing to really help amend your soil. Add that aeration to your soil so it can breathe a little bit, and just, add some good nutrients so that as soon as the weather warms up, you're going to have your garden beds cleaned out. You're going to have some amendments already mixed into your soil. It's going to make getting those new seedlings that you're growing inside that much easier, and then you'll be ready to go with your spring garden. So hopefully that's given you some good things you can do. 4 things. Start planning for your garden now while it's still cold outside. Start collecting your supplies, your seeds, which you can find over on my website if you need seeds, and soil and grow lights. Start cleaning out your garden beds, and then giving your soil some good TLC. So I'm really hoping that these tips help you guys get excited about spring gardening. And guys, again, hang in there. It's just around the corner. I know it doesn't seem like it's very close right now, but hang in there, and we'll be all gardening together outside before you know it. Okay, let me answer a few questions before it's time to go here. Irene, I'm so glad you asked that question. Oh, and get the family involved. Absolutely, Cassie. That's a great idea. Irene's got a great question here. Do I need to cover my indoor seeds to germinate? That's really a personal preference. I don't like to cover mine because I feel like it creates too much humidity for the seedlings, which causes mold to develop. And it can help, breed bacteria and maybe bring in, some fungus gnats or whiteflies or whatever. So I don't cover mine, and I don't know if that's just something that works for me here in my area with our climate. If you live in a more humid climate, you probably have even more of a problem with humidity. So it's just not something I prefer to do. But, by all means, if it works for you, keep on going for it. Okay, Alexia, I microwave eggshells for 2 minutes before using. Okay, saving eggshells is a great thing to add to your compost, or you can also crush them up and add them around into your garden soil as well. It's also a great way to give your soil some TLC. Okay, any tips from Angela here? Any tips for a shady corner of the yard? Will some lettuce be okay? Angela, lettuce is actually a perfect vegetable to grow in a shady area. I have a very shady area of my yard. If you watched my garden tour on yesterday, actually, our rainy garden tour, I do have a raised bed, a small veggie pod raised bed under a tree, and it's actually been great. It's grown lettuce absolutely beautifully here in the winter, and it only gets maybe 2 hours of sunshine a day. So it's done very well. It grows a little bit slower, but definitely lettuce or any kind of greens grow beautifully in the shade. Something else I have in there is a couple of herbs, cilantro and dill. Again, they grow a little bit slower, but they've done just great out there in the shade. So give it a go. Okay, oh yes, and in the summertime, thank you, Black Orchid, it's perfect. He says he or she grow lettuce in the summer in a shady area in Texas. It keeps it cooler in our extreme heat. Perfect. It's a perfect way to grow lettuce in the summer, is to give it some shade. Okay, can you root Swiss chard from a leaf? I don't believe so. I've never tried that, but they are so easy to grow from seed, but I don't believe they root from a leaf. Okay, here from Zenith Abdullah. Which season do you sow onions, and after how long since sowing do you pick the onions? Okay, Zenith, onions are a cool weather vegetable, and you actually want to you could start them super early. A lot of people even start their onions in December because they can grow for about 12 weeks indoors, and then you can plant them outside. It really varies on the type of onion as to when you harvest it. If you watched my video yesterday, you saw me harvest a couple of very small bunching onions. They were maybe about this big and super, super tiny, more like green onions. So if you grow the big bulbing onions, you're gonna definitely wanna wait a lot longer if you want them to come to size. I love to grow the bunching onions because they take they're a lot quicker to grow, and you can pretty much harvest them as you at the size that you want to, or you can just snip off the tops and use those in your recipes. They really make a nice flavor for your recipes. Okay, so let's do one more question here. I'd love some tips or a video on growing nasturtiums. That is actually on my list of videos to film, Jesse. They're so easy to grow. So hopefully we'll get to filming a video on that very soon. So let me see if there's one more question here. Can I grow sugar snap peas next to garlic? Yes. Okay. Yes, you can. Absolutely. Not a problem. I've grown them next to each other before and never had a problem with them, Steven. So go for it. Lucas, frustrating to not be able to get your seeds and vermicasting or items you use, no overseas postage. Are you going to change that? Lucas, I would love to be able to change that. I do ship right now to Canada and the UK, but it's not completely up to me. Vermistera ships out all their own things. I don't really have much to do with the shipping on that. As far as my seeds, we've had some problems shipping to other countries. Why don't you email me? Let me know what country you live in, and we'll see if that will work. But we have had some problems getting some of them through customs, specifically to Australia. And then they end up coming back. And I know that's really frustrating for the people that order them. But please do email me at calliekim@calliekimgardenandhome.com. Let me know where you live, and I'll see what I can do about shipping you seeds if you're interested in that. Okay, yes, thank you, Cliff. Some have rules about seeds and some are fine. So what some people have done is if they know someone in the US that's maybe coming to visit, they have them shipped, or the US or Canada, they've had them shipped to them, and then they bring them on a visit. I know that's not possible for everyone, so I'm really sorry that's been frustrating for you, and hopefully we'll have something we can do about that very soon. But I would also encourage you to look for some local suppliers. Overseas shipping is very expensive, so I really appreciate the fact that you want to purchase my seeds, and thank you so much for being interested, but you're going to save yourself a lot of money if you can find a local supplier, because sometimes the shipping can be so expensive that it's not always worth the cost. So look around and see what you can find locally as well. Okay, guys. So much fun today, a great group. I really appreciate you joining me. Make sure you tune in for next Monday's live stream, and of course we'll have a weekend video. I'm not sure what that'll be yet. Hopefully it won't be raining and we'll be able to get outside and do some gardening. So appreciate your time, and please let me know what you're doing to get your spring garden going. And also check me out over on Instagram, because I'm always posting some fun things over there. All right, guys, thanks a lot. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.